The Squonk opera is good. It's a good.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Wow. It has been a while since we recorded.
Feels like forever.
This is episode
12? I'm
And
excited.
we were supposed to record this last week.
And then we didn't.
Then we didn't because I didn't have my notes ready. And I barely got them ready about 10 minutes before recording this.
I have had mine ready for a couple days now, and I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
I hope this comes together.
I hope mine's okay. Oh, man. I don't know why this was difficult for me. I think because it felt like school.
Oh, what? Now I want to know what your subject is.
Yeah. But it's a subject that fascinated me, or fascinates me, not past tense, because it still does. It took a bit for me to first of all, narrow it down and then just decide how I wanted to present the information and talk about it. I don't know. It's weird.
I have to say, I'm listening intently to you. And I want to know what your subject is, but I'm also admiring the new light you bought for our recording studio.
We have a new light. We have a neon light that says recording, and it's of a microphone, and it's got wings on either side of it. So it's
it's so cool.
So perfect for us because it kind of matches our logo. We'll post a picture of it sometime when we get it hung up.
Yeah.
I don't know
right
when
now
that's
it's just kind of sitting on the desk, but
it's still wrapped in the plastic that it came in because I don't want the cat hair to get all over it. It was just funny because right now Kiersey is sitting right next to it.
Yeah.
Just snoozing away.
She was chewing on the plastic because that's the thing she does.
Her little paw is on the remote that changes the color of the light. Another thing that's pretty cool that we did while we were in Phoenix, we rode in self-driving cars.
Oh my gosh.
We got the Waymo app. And if you don't know what Waymo is, it's a rideshare service, but there is no driver. They are self-driven cars.
And it's like so creepy when you first get in, but then it was just the most chill ride we've ever had.
It was so chill.
I enjoyed it.
We did it 3 times when we were during the weekend when you were gone. And by the third ride, we were pretty exhausted because of the weekend. And
but we slept the 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
from one location to the other. We just it was just so chill.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about talking to a person or I mean, I have a level of social anxiety when I'm I feel like I have to have a conversation if somebody's in the room with me.
I don't
feel that way around you because we could just, it doesn't matter. But when I'm with someone who I don't know as well, I feel do they expect me to talk to them? Do they expect me? And I just get I don't know.
I mean, sometimes I get like that, but with Uber and Lyft drivers, if they want to spark up a conversation, I will talk, like the one that we had on the way back to the airport.
Oh yeah, he was
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of just take social cues from the driver, and which is funny because the drivers usually take the cues from the passengers. So
we'll
if
just
we don't
sit in silence, thank you.
It's fine. I don't get anxiety with people I don't know, which is weird. Well, I will say people that I know I will never see again. I'll say that instead of people I don't know. Yeah, because I don't care if they think I'm a shy person.
Yeah.
They know nothing about me. So
I'm developing that as I get older. I think part of it is growing up in the South, everybody talks to everybody.
Yeah.
If you're in a car with someone, you're talking. If you're in line, someone random will just start up a conversation about something. And I think I get that from there.
Uh-huh.
And so then I'm oh, I'm with someone. I need to be talking to them. And yeah, I don't know.
I am definitely an introvert, but I don't get like that with one-time meetings, you know? I'm fine with whatever. I could hold a conversation with anybody.
Yeah, same.
or I can just sit in complete silence and not be uncomfortable.
I would like to continue to be that way. I'm like I said, I am getting better at that. Like, just be like, I don't have to talk to this person.
Yeah. And like your Uber driver doesn't know what you're coming from and where you're going to. Maybe you don't want to talk.
Yeah.
It's
I don't want to talk to you.
And like they know that. But anyway, self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars.
It was really cool.
We talked about doing like an episode on them at some point in the future. And I think it would be fun.
It would really be fun. I think.
Because it's just really cool. So that might happen in the future.
Yeah.
But what's this episode? Oh. I pulled up our calendar for the release date of this. This episode comes out on February 6th.
Yeah.
And the week after that, we will be in LA.
Crap.
LA. I don't know why I said it that way. We will be in LA at Gallifrey 1.
In Los Angeles.
The Doctor Who convention. And I'm kind of stoked for it. It's been a couple years since I've been there.
Yeah.
And
I have not kept up with any Doctor
I'm
Who.
I'm so out of the loop with
it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm going to be seeing a lot of things that I don't understand the references or the context to, but that's great.
Yeah,
that's fine.
100%. Catherine Tate's going to be there, so I'm excited for her. Even though I know, like, I feel like she made an appearance recently and there's some more Donna story, but I am so out of the loop.
Oh, whatever. There's always drama.
No, Donna.
Donna story.
Yeah, Donna story.
I thought you said drama.
Drama.
Like in her
There's
personal
more drama.
life.
I'm sure it's drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are going to be at Gallifrey 1. So if you are going to be there, look for us because we do have little ribbons that we'll be handing out.
We have little podcast ribbons.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited about that.
It feels like, we're like legit.
And so we were talking about how we wish we had T-shirts when we went to Phoenix with our logo on them. We have those now.
Yeah,
so
we have a limited supply, but yeah.
Well, I mean, me.
For
mine.
us.
I'm going to wear
I'm wearing
mine.
one right now. It's under my hoodie, but
So yeah, I'll definitely wear that one of the days of Galley.
For sure.
I
don't know why I said it that way.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
So yeah. If
so,
you see our logo and you recognize it, you're awesome.
You're awesome.
You're
Thank
a
you
member of
listening.
a super elite club because we
Very
don't actually
small,
have that
awesome club.
we don't
of
have
people.
that many listeners yet. But yeah, just know that we love you and you rock and come say hi to us.
Yeah. And I'm going to apologize in advance for if I sound really congested because I am, and I'm working on it. I feel like I'm like possibly getting a cold. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone at the cafe has been like dropping like flies. So I'm like, oh no. I'll Lysol everything. And
dropping like flies of sickness.
Oh, yeah. They're all still with us. No, they're just like everybody's been missing days and missing work for being sick. So I'm hoping that I have limited my contact with them.
Fingers crossed.
So, yeah. Anyway, do you want to tell me what your subject is yet?
No, and you ask that every time.
I know I do.
But we have to roll the dice.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Are we both?
No, you got a 5, I got a 6. I saw my 6 and I was like, oh, that's low. I bet I won't have to go first.
I looked and the light's like hitting mine and it's making it look like a 6. And I was like, did we just roll the same thing? But,
that would be funny.
Okay.
If
Cool.
that happens, do we re-roll or do we rock, paper, scissors or like what?
Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'd have to look that up to see which one was which. But
I know that scissors decapitates lizard, lizard poisons Spock, paper disproves Spock,
Scissors
Spock
cuts paper.
crushes scissors. I used to have that whole thing that Sheldon said memorized.
I used to. It's just been a while since I've heard it, or used it.
Yeah.
So,
lizard eats paper?
Rock smashes lizard? I don't know. I don't remember it. I'll have to look it up, but not right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I want to know your subject because I'm actually like super excited for mine too. But
okay.
I want to know yours.
So it's weird because so far a lot of the things that I've done had more of a historical aspect to them. And this one does. I did dive into the history of it, but it's more scientific than anything that I've covered before.
Cool.
I'm going to talk about forensic hair comparisons.
What? Oh my gosh. I've been listening to And That's Why We Drink, which is like a true crime paranormal podcast.
Paranormal. I love them.
And I just I'm all in for the hair forensics because there's some of the most recent episodes I've been listening to, which are older. They're 2020 episodes, but they are talking more about like DNA and how it's been able to solve old crimes.
Yeah.
And
I get into that a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So it's been funny though, because we usually listen to that podcast, And That's Why We Drink, while we make pies at night. And these are all episodes that I've heard before because Hids is still catching up. There have been like so many times just while I've been doing this research that they say something on the podcast and I'm like, oh, did you know? But I have to keep my comments to myself. Like, oh yeah, hair forensics. Da-da-da-da. And like, nope, can't say that because then you'll know.
Sneak.
So there are 3 different types of forensic hair analysis. The first one, and is the most reliable one, is DNA testing. If the root of the hair is intact, it can be tested for DNA matches. And like I said, it is the most scientifically accurate form of testing. Then there's chemical testing. It's used for the detection of drugs taken as long as 90 days ago. It can also be tested post-mortem, which sort of sets it apart from pretty much all other chemical testing because the hair holds all kinds of information. It's also more recently being used not only as a way to detect drugs that an individual has in their system, but also environmental stuff as well, like high concentrations of certain minerals in water that can only be found in certain areas can...
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say there was actually an episode where that was how they found out where someone had been before they died because of something that they had eaten or water that they had drank was only like, you only got this mineral in this certain area.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just, it's so fascinating to me.
The only downside of chemical testing is that certain drugs and just other toxins, I guess, in the hair might not show up if it's been recently introduced to the system. So
right,
like,
it's got to take some time to...
Yeah, it takes a couple days, like 2 or 3 days, I think, to show up. I guess that depends on the specific type of drug too, though. Like there's just some...
Right. I wonder, like, some people, their hair grows really fast. Mine.
Yeah, that's another factor.
So,
like how fast the hair grows, how long the hair is.
That's so nuts.
Yeah. And like that could actually be another subject that we talk about. That one and DNA testing, actually, because the one I'm focusing on the most is the third type, microscopic analysis. And that is the oldest method. It is the oldest method of hair analysis, and it's used to determine class evidence, which can help you narrow something down to a specific species or race, or it can determine damage that has been done to the hair, the area of the body the hair came from. It's called class evidence because it can help narrow down the suspect pool, but it can't help to identify an individual.
Okay, so this is looking at the actual physical structure of the hair.
Yes,
okay.
It's a visual examination of the hair.
Okay.
Under a microscope, or just looking at it.
So this has been around for a while.
It has been around for a while.
Oh, that's
17th
cool.
and 18th centuries is when it started. Yeah.
When I think of forensics in like criminal aspects, like in like we're doing the forensics on a case to identify the culprit or whatever, I don't think that far back in history. I'm like, this is like a 1900, 1920 or, something there. Because like even it's only recent that they actually, I mean, and I say recent in a broad term, but it's in the recent century that they will shut down a crime scene and don't disturb things instead of just like,
trampling all over
letting people just wander through the crime scene and take pictures and, or take here. Yeah. You want a souvenir of this? I don't know. People are weird, but yeah, like I don't think of forensics in like that level as old history, ancient history. It's more modern.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Same.
So 17th,
I always think
century,
of like the cutting edge science that they're using, and just because that's how it's portrayed in movies and TV.
Yeah, yeah.
So microscopic hair analysis is actually considered by a lot of people to be junk science because it's not very reliable. Oh man, before I get into that though, I'm going to I want to touch on the history. Back in 1847, hair was examined in the case of the murder of the Duchess de Preslin in Paris.
Oh, okay.
And I think I told you last week when I was trying to get my research done that I deep dove into a certain aspect of this.
Yeah, you did mention that.
This murder case was what I deep dove into, and it is pretty wild. And I kind of want to do either a mini episode on it, kind of depending on what else I can dig up, or a full episode on it or full topic.
I mean,
whatever.
I would be down. Like, we're not a specific true crime podcast, but we are a random podcast.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, if we did a true crime episode, I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah.
Because I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little macabre to think about, like, finding fascination in a crime, but the way that it can be presented as like a timeline and things that happen and you think like, oh, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on it.
There's a reason shows like Unsolved Mysteries and like even like BuzzFeed Unsolved and just like the podcast and That's Why We Drink and so many other true crime podcasts out there that are so popular. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, you could probably do a whole episode on the psychology of why we listen or are interested in true crime. You know, it's like, I don't think we're like trying to become criminals, but I think we're just fascinated by that aspect of society. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
I'm fascinated by true crime.
I grew up on Unsolved Mysteries and, the whole, if you have any information or if you've seen this person, call this number. And, it's like, what? This is a TV show, but it was actually pretty interesting, Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
So anyway,
tell me about this.
The reason I sort of dug a little deeper on this was because I was trying to figure out the specifics of the hair that was used in the investigation, but I couldn't even, it was only from a couple sources that said it was hair at all. There was another source that said it was just weapons that they analyzed, and like I couldn't find specifics at all. There were, however, specifics about other things pertaining to the case, and that's what got wild. That's where things got crazy.
Okay.
And I won't get into that, but I will say it involves an unhappy marriage, a possible affair with the live-in governess,
Ooh.
wild rumors of a faked death, and a case that may have been one of the sparks that fueled the fire for the French Revolution.
Okay.
I said that really weird. Revolution.
The French Revolution. Okay. Give me that name because I'm literally putting this on the list right now.
Duchess. Okay, let me spell it out.
Yeah.
DePraeslin.
Okay. It's on the list.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah.
I'm down. I want to know. Okay.
The husband did it. Yeah.
Shocking. Also, random. The microscope was invented in 1590.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
It doesn't seem like it should be that old.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I have
The
no
Duchess.
commentary for that.
The Duchess and the
Anyway, that was one of the first cases that hair analysis was used. The first case in the U.S. to consider hair analysis as evidence occurred in 1882. It involved a man whose body was found in a swamp about a half mile from the defendant's residence. Blood and hair were both discovered on a wheelbarrow in the possession of the suspect. An expert compared the hair found on the piece of equipment with the hair from the victim and determined that the hair was precisely the same in length, magnitude, color, and in every other respect.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so they concluded that the hair came from the suspect, the same person. And it resulted in the defendant's conviction. This was in 1882. And after that, it became a standard prosecution tool, relying greatly upon the use of microscopic analysis. Because hair is such a common form of trace material, it is often submitted as evidence during criminal investigations, or back then. And humans shed approximately 100 head hairs a day.
I shed like 200.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do more than that. So trace material just means that, everywhere you go, you leave trace amounts of evidence of your presence behind, and it's mostly hair.
Yeah,
crime scenes.
I believe that.
Yeah, hair analysis in crime scenes became pretty standard. It was thought back then that it would help establish a link between individuals or between a person and a specific environment. And back then, as far as they knew, because the science wasn't completely there yet, it did.
Right.
The use of a comparison microscope, which was a microscope that allowed the simultaneous viewing of two different samples side by side, began to be used in 1934. So huge jump in time here to the 30s.
Now this is making more sense in my brain. Like, oh yes, we had microscopes in the 30s. This makes sense.
That method of comparison helped solve the murder of an 8-year-old girl.
Oh, good.
By the 1950s, it was accepted as a forensic science, like officially accepted. Hair comparisons were. Like I said, they used it as class evidence.
When you said earlier it was considered junk science, was that back
Well, more so now.
Oh, okay.
It's considered junk science, but even back then, it was, there were doubts back then. Yeah, I think it could help get a conviction because it could, like I said, class evidence could narrow down the suspect pool. And I think there would be other steps that forensics and investigators would take in order to get more evidence against them.
So it's kind of like
I don't think they ever really relied truly on
okay.
Like one single hair comparison as evidence.
Yeah. The only thing we have is that we had found his hair at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that
think,
sort of thing.
they still did their due diligence.
Right.
Oh, let's see. I have a little bit about what they actually do during the microscopic examination.
Okay.
And the scientist would examine the hair to determine which characteristics were similar to a sample and if the similarities outweighed the differences between specimens. So they would take a hair sample from a known subject and the hair sample from the unknown subject, like found at a crime scene or on a victim, and they would compare the two. And so they were looking for similarities. There were usually two determinations resulting from the hair comparison. It was either consistent with each other or microscopically indistinguishable. Those are the official terms, consistent with or microscopically indistinguishable. And based on whether the hairs are, either of those, consistent with or microscopically indistinguishable with one another, the ultimate conclusion of the analysis could be exclusion, association, or no conclusion.
Okay.
So exclusion occurs when the differences in the microscopic characteristics of the collected strand and the known sample were greater than the similarities. So
okay,
not enough similarities, it's got to be tossed out, exclusion. If the two hairs were simply dissimilar, the examiner noted that they were not consistent as originating from the same source rather than stating that they could not have come from the same source. So if they were sort of similar, like maybe the two samples came from someone that belonged to the same race, it was blonde hair, they're similar but not consistent.
So you could say like, okay, this person was definitely blonde.
Yeah.
But not, suspect X because there's not enough to say it's
not
it's
enough
the
to
same.
say that it came from the same source.
Okay.
I have in my notes that it is important to note that although a microscopic hair comparison can show if a hair's characteristics are consistent with the hair sample, it is impossible to determine whether the hairs match. In other words, the process can never result in personal identification of the hair to a source.
Okay.
So it's, even then, it was commonly understood that getting a personal identification to one particular suspect is unlikely, probably impossible.
So in all those movies and books where it's like there were 3 long red hairs and she has red hair, so
Right.
it has to be her. It is her. That's not likely. Okay.
No.
TV's fun.
Yeah.
Books are fun.
So
we just bend the truth just a little bit.
So this doubt was included in the typed reports of any cases, but at the time, expert witnesses in court would often exaggerate, not be as modest with their findings. And because they are testifying to a jury of peers, not experts, it was easy to convince a jury saying, we have a hair sample analysis saying that they could be a match, and experts say they could be a
This
match.
hair sample puts them at the scene.
Yep. So
they have no other reason to be there.
Because of that, we're jumping ahead in time again to the 70s. Researchers said in 1974 that the whole process was inherently subjective. And then the FBI jumped in 1984, 10 years later, saying that the hair analysis cannot positively match one single person. However, was still being used during all of this as evidence. Testimony in court by expert witnesses was still being exaggerated. All of this was still going on. And then the 1990s happened and DNA profiling came around. A bunch of old cases from the 70s and 80s were re-examined, and the DNA testing contradicted the conclusions about a number of earlier matches on the basis of hair analysis.
Oh, that's nuts.
In 1994, the Justice Department created a task force which would eventually review 6,000 cases by the year 2004. So they created it and they said, you have 10 years to review all these cases. The reviews came after reports that sloppy work by examiners at the FBI lab was producing unreliable forensic evidence in court trials. And a study of FBI laboratory hair analysis cases between 1996 and the year 2000 was released in 2002. The study showed that 11% of the hair analysis matches were contradicted by the DNA analysis.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, 11% doesn't seem like a big number, but also it does.
It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you think about, I mean, I don't know.
Like, did it?
They did say they reviewed 6,000 cases, and I don't know if the 11% was from that 6,000.
Or the grand total.
Or, yeah.
It's, did you find out, like, did any of that overturn convictions or anything? Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it led to some exonerations. Unfortunately, there were others that were already sentenced to death.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
So the outcry from defense attorneys about the unreliability of hair analysis and the overstatement by FBI experts resulted in the FBI conducting a review of disputed hair analysis matches since 2012. And due to what was found in that investigation, in July of 2013, the Justice Department began a, quote, unprecedented review of older cases involving hair analysis, examining more than 21,000 cases.
Whoa.
Referred to the FBI Labs Hair Unit from 1982 through 1999. Keep in mind that this is just FBI investigation.
Yeah, that doesn't cover all
it
the other
doesn't cover
branches.
State or county or town.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is just the FBI. By 2015, these cases included as many as 32 death penalty convictions in which FBI experts may have exaggerated the reliability of hair analysis in their testimony. And I said may have with air quotes.
I saw the air quotes. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a bad time for the FBI. Of these, 14 persons had been executed already or died in prison. In 2015, the Department of Justice released findings on 268 trials examined. So far, the investigation was still ongoing, in which hair analysis was used. The review concluded that in 257 of these 268 trials, so 95%, the analysis gave flawed testimony in court that overstated the accuracy of the findings in favor of the prosecution.
Oh, man.
And about 1,200 cases remained to be examined. So during the investigation, they were, 257 out of 268.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So because of that, the Department of Justice emphasized its commitment to following up on these cases to correct any wrongs. And they said that they are, and this is a quote, are committed to ensuring that affected defendants are notified of past errors and that justice is done in every instance. The department and the FBI are also committed to ensuring the accuracy of future hair analysis, as well as the application of all disciplines of forensic science. So that was good.
That's good. Yeah, like, oh, hey, we had this information that we thought was okay, and it's not, so we're going to... I mean, that's good to, instead of just going, well, we'll do better from here on out. Yeah. Sorry to everybody. And I mean, I have in the past, read, especially when DNA testing became really big and they were started going through old stuff. And I just remember a couple, I don't remember names or anything. I just remember hearing that, somebody had served 20 years and then they were proven without a doubt that they were innocent, which they had been saying their whole time in there.
Yeah.
But then, and they were released. But then I'm like, that's 20 years of your life is gone.
Yeah.
And this is why I never, ever, ever want to serve on any kind of jury ever.
A criminal jury, yeah.
Yeah, criminal. Because I just would be like, I can't, I don't know what if. My brain would immediately go, what if?
The rules are so weird too. Because, you can only consider what is presented in court. Yeah. And even if something is presented in court, it goes into your ears, into your brain. And then if that whatever statement gets objected or whatever.
Yeah, the jury will dismiss that piece of information. And you're
disregard that piece of information. And I'm like, well, but it's already in
it's
there.
In my head. I can't, I don't have a delete button in there. Okay, I'm sorry. But
yeah.
it's.
So anyway, in 2015, that was good. I'm about to make you mad again, though, because in 2017, the investigation was suspended.
Of course.
A forensic science commission that had previously been established, that had been working to sort of lay down standards on several tests and to improve the accuracy of them. The commission was a partnership with independent scientists to raise forensic science standards. That commission was also ended in 2017. And independent scientists and prosecutors and defense counsels and judges, they all criticized the ending of the commission, saying that the criminal justice system needed to rely on the best science.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was ended because of politicians, obviously.
Obviously.
I want to keep politics out of this podcast as much as possible, but it happened in 2017, so I'll let you draw whatever conclusions you want to from that. Mm-hmm. And as of late 2019, because of ongoing investigations, 75 people who were convicted of a crime based on microscopic hair comparison were subsequently exonerated.
Okay, well...
So, investigations are still happening. It's just this one committee.
Okay, so it's probably just happening on a much smaller basis. There's no focused...
Yeah.
Okay.
Hollywood still continues to just sort of rely on that trope.
Yeah.
Of hair analysis. Nowadays, law enforcement just seldom... they'll still collect hair samples.
But it's probably more for the DNA aspect of it.
Definitely. Yeah, you can still do DNA comparisons if the hair follicle is intact. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more accurate. Again, that could be a whole other thing is DNA analysis. I didn't even dive into the DNA or the chemical analysis.
I would to get in on I would like to do a DNA episode.
Yeah.
DNA is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember way back in the day when I was in school, learning like what DNA was, like at the very basics of what it was. And it's just like it's come so far since then, the knowledge that is available about DNA and what it can be used for. And it just boggles my mind.
Yeah. It's cool.
There was, what was that movie? Gattaca with Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman.
I haven't seen it.
We should watch it. It's pretty good. It's that sci-fi vibe, but it's like basically like the DNA testing is just commonplace. Like you could go have tea with someone and take a DNA sample from them, take it to a kiosk just outside the tea shop, and learn everything about that person.
Oh,
and see, like,
I don't
are
think
they
that's...
really well? Like, are they really who they say they are? If they're like, oh yeah, my name's da 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 da, and then you go take their DNA sample and that's not actually their name. So
this is in a futuristic world where everybody has provided DNA samples to some sort of central database.
Yeah, because at that point they're also like genetically working with fetuses in utero. Like, oh, they run a test and it's like, your child will have this disease, or this thing. And they're like, oh, we can go fix it now. And like, if you're like, oh, I've always wanted a child who plays piano, I want, you could literally kind of program them to become
that has
incredible...
sparked a memory. I still haven't seen the movie, but I think I know.
Yeah, there's a scene with the six-fingered piano player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a little bit of action adventure, but kind of a thinker.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Sweet.
So yeah, anyway. DNA, cool stuff.
That's all I have. I do have a couple other just little fun thing. I say fun. They still involve crime.
Well.
But there was in the 30s, in 1936, a woman was murdered and there weren't many clues to go on except a cord from the rope that was used to restrain the victim. And on that rope was a single horsehair. The detective involved investigating the case ordered his team to compare the rope cord to the rope from every rope manufacturer on the East Coast.
Whoa.
And eventually they found a match. This confirmed their suspicion that the guy that killed this lady, I think they had already suspected this guy.
Right.
But it confirmed that it was him because he worked at the company that rope was from.
Whoa.
And the horsehair that was found was the same, identical to horsehair found in the scene to restuff a couch that he had used.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's wow.
Yeah, they confronted him with that evidence and he confessed. So a horsehair helped solve that murder.
Yay, horses.
And then there was another murder in 1998 that was helped to be solved by dog hair.
Oh, yay, doggo.
Yeah.
Also, horsehair stuffed couches are not comfortable. I'm glad we moved away from that. It doesn't
work
sound
comfortable for me.
It's very... I had a couch
itchy.
from that. I had an old antique couch, and one of the... a portion of it was still like horsehair stuffed.
Was that couch that we moved out of here?
Yes, that one was too.
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that antique. I had almost that exact same couch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not nice.
It's not.
But anyway, doggos solving crimes.
Yeah. 2 suspects killed a woman and they did everything they could to hide their involvement. They wrapped the victim in plastic and deep cleaned the whole room that she was killed in. But police found dog hair on the woman's sock.
Oh.
And they matched it to the pets of the 2 suspects.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So doggos solving crime, even though it got the dog's owners.
Well, they obviously weren't good owners.
They're
okay.
not good dog owners. They're not. Yeah. 2 little fun facts about animal hairs helping solve crimes.
There's so much animal hair in this house.
I know.
Tink is on my lap being incredibly cute.
If you want to talk about trace evidence that we leave behind.
It's all pet hair.
It's all pet hair.
Everywhere we go, it's just pet hair.
We could not get away with murder.
Oh my gosh. I would like commit a murder and then apologize. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I have to fix this. Like,
there's no way, even if I intend to commit a murder, there's no way I can walk into a place without leaving hair. I would walk in, I would look down and see how much hair is currently floating off of me down into the carpet. And I'm like, I can't be here. I have to leave.
I would be so like, oh man. Oh.
Yep. So,
it would be so
rest
bad.
assured, dear listeners, we will not be committing any crimes.
And not also
no one
we
here
wouldn't
is
be
committing any crimes.
wink. Also, like, I would like to go on record as stating we would actually not commit murder, even if we were like in a completely sterile environment, because murder is bad. Don't do murder.
Don't do murder.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Oh no, that would. Oh gosh, I'm knocking something over.
That? Oh, that was your.
Yeah. I'm knocking all kinds of stuff off of
yeah.
you. Okay. We're not gonna do murder.
No.
It would be bad.
Moving on
to something non-murderous. Hair. Hey, do you have anything more about
we
hair?
could. No, I don't.
Okay.
That's everything.
So it is useful, but it's not the end all of evidence.
Yeah. It is useful for class evidence, but not for personal identification evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can just basically say this is a person from this area.
Yeah.
So you can knock out like all the people from that area. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you have the DNA testing to back it up.
Back it up. Right. Okay.
And that really only occurs if you have the root of the follicle, the hair follicle, which is rare.
It takes a lot to pull the root out.
Yeah.
The barn I worked at, the owner raised Hanoverians, which is a Dutch warm blood horse.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry. They're very strict about the registry and stuff. So like at a certain point when the baby is, so many days old, you have like a 5-day window where you pull out a tuft of mane hair and send that in for DNA testing and stuff. Like, it's really cool. But, you have this little newborn baby horse that you're trying to, you should like humans. Humans are kind. And then you just pull a yank and it's like, but I just remember that. It was fascinating that DNA studying is commonplace enough that you would use it on horses.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, this is definitely in this bloodline and can be registered. So,
yeah. And, cool. As far as identifying distinguishing animal hairs and human hairs, that can be done under a microscope. There's definitely a visual difference.
Yeah, definitely.
I lied. I do have...
okay.
Towards the end of my research, when I was diving into microscopic hair analysis, I remembered the reason we put this topic in the desk in the first place.
Desk on the list.
Deck of cards in the first place was, I think we were actually listening to, and that's why we drink. And they said something about doing chemical analysis on a hair, and we were like, I wonder how long.
Oh, right.
Like,
because I had heard
is there like a window that provides the most accurate hair analysis?
Right.
I just kind of Googled that last night. And there are a lot of different factors, like I was talking about earlier. The length of the hair, how long the drug has been in the system, whether the hair was pulled or cut or any other damage to the hair was done. Mm-hmm. But 90 days seems to be the ideal window. However, you can... with DNA analysis, you can centuries. You can dig up a corpse and do DNA analysis.
That is cool.
Yeah. So chemical analysis, you kind of have a short window. Microscopic analysis, since it's visual, it really it's probably a shorter window because hair does start to deteriorate.
Yeah, it breaks down and
But DNA analysis can be done.
That is wild.
And obviously, the older the specimen, the less accurate, I guess, the result is. But it is still possible to get just very small bits of DNA.
I'm having a memory. It was in the UK. Do you know the Bogman?
Oh yeah, the Bogman.
Didn't they find someone descended from the Bogman based on the DNA?
Yeah,
that's so fascinating.
Yeah, in Wales.
I think it was Wales. Yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this specimen is in museums and being studied, and then it's like, oh yeah, that was your great 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 something or other. Like, oh, cool.
You see the resemblance? Didn't he make a joke about like?
Yeah, I think he did make a
side picture of him.
And like, which they did like the reconstruction of the Bogman, and it did actually really look a lot like this guy. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, that's wild. DNA's fun stuff. If I could focus, I could maybe like be like, I could have become like a DNA person, scientist.
What do they call because
researcher? I don't know.
Scientist, I guess.
Science.
I used to want to go into forensics, and just doing this research for this podcast, I'm like, probably wouldn't have lasted. I couldn't have gotten through school because, like, man, it was hard for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, I do have a couple of references. I used Wikipedia for one reference, but one reference was like a textbook.
Oh, yeah. So, I heard you said something like, oh, this is such like a textbook. And I was like, what are you?
It actually was a textbook.
It actually was.
And then there was another one that was like a article from a law firm talking about types of evidence and da-da-da.
So
and all
they
that.
had all the legal terms and all of that.
And so that's like, I can't
do that. No.
So I'm glad I only had to research it for 2 weeks instead of dedicating my whole life and career to it.
Right.
And that's fine.
Good for you.
That was fun.
That's very interesting. I'm glad. I remember that whole conversation now, and I'm glad that was on there. I'm glad you got that, and not myself, because I would have been like,
if I had remembered that was why we put it in the deck, then I probably would have went a different way with my research. But I was fascinated by the microscopic aspect of it.
Yeah.
And how many cases were not disproved. I guess that's the word I'm going to use because I can't think of the other one, but overturned. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. And I want to know more about this Duchess. So I've put her on the list. So I'm sure
it might be a mini episode.
Mini episode. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I'm so excited about what I'm talking about.
What is that?
Kirsten digging at the carpet.
Oh, of course she is. Let's make noise. Everybody make noise now.
Everybody meow now.
Meow, 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 meow.
Oh, man.
What are you talking about?
I'm excited for what I'm talking about. I have a prop, but first, I'm going to start off with saying, the Cambridge English Dictionary defines a cryptid as a creature that is found in stories and that some people believe exists or say they have seen, but has never been proven to exist.
You drew the cryptid card.
I drew the cryptid card.
I asked if you drew the cryptid card and you said no.
I know. I said no. I lied.
I should have rolled an insight check.
You should have rolled insight. Yeah, I drew it and I was like so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I spent like 4 days trying to decide what cryptid I wanted to do because, you've got Bigfoot, Mothman, all the big named cryptids. And I was like, oh, I love Mothman. I'm going to do Mothman. And I was like, everybody does Mothman as their first cryptid. And I just was like, I don't know.
Those ones have to be special.
I put a post on my Facebook page.
What? And, did you hide me from it?
I did. I just said favorite cryptid, go.
Oh no!
You did see that one. You did see that one. Yeah. And
I think that's when I asked you, "Hey, did you?"
Yeah, that's when. And I lied. So there we go. I'm sorry. I feel really bad for lying. But everyone commented, and I had a long list of cryptids, but only one person said this cryptid, and so I went with it because I felt sorry for the poor Lacrimicorpus dissolvens.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Lacrimicorpus dissolvens, or the squonk. And now I can show you the little art that I drew in my journal several days ago.
He's
and
so
I have
cute.
wanted to show you for some time.
So freaking cute.
He's so cute. I need to finish it, but it's
adorable.
The squonk.
We're posting that.
Yes, we could definitely post that. I mean, really quick, the squonk is just a sad, sad little creature that's terribly ugly. They know how ugly they are, and therefore they just cry about it all the time. And they can cry so much that they actually just dissolve in their own tears.
Aw. Poor Squonk.
I know. The first time I ever heard about the squonk, I just was like, oh gosh, I just want to find it and tell it it's not ugly. But then I read a little more about it, and it is not really the most prettiest creature, but that's okay.
But your looks
inside.
don't define you, Squonk.
Your looks don't define you. So define you. I just want to put that out there. Body positivity. Your looks do not define you. And I wish that someone could go find the squonk and tell them that. Yeah. The problem is it's very difficult to find this. Well, we'll get into it. I found a couple fun bits of information about the squonk.
I'm going to get comfy.
This is a Pennsylvania cryptid, which is primarily where they've been quote unquote found or described. The squonk is approximately 16 to 18 inches tall. They have an elongated snout, large eyes. They live a nocturnal lifestyle. They have large pointed ears. Their fore and rear feet have limited webbing between the toes since they tend to be in kind of damper areas. And they are often depicted as a pig-like creature, although it has toes instead of hooves.
Same.
Same. It is thought that they could possibly be related to tapirs. Tapirs.
Yeah.
Their skin is wrinkled and loose and kind of folds in on itself. So kind of like the little Shar-Pei dogs or little bulldogs with the little wrinkly skin. And this skin is covered with bumps and I wrote warps. Bumps and warts. Oh my gosh. I just saw that and started laughing. Sorry. And their tears are always cascading from their eyes. And so they have like these big, like think of the bush babies, the big round eyes, but they're apparently not as cute as the bush babies. The first place that squonks are described is in a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods with a Few Desert and Mountain Beasts. And I actually bought a book, which I had to have. I had my friend buy it and ship it to us because I didn't want you to. Because I was like,
we share an Amazon account. I would have seen it.
Yeah, you would have seen it. I'm just like, it's Supernatural Lore of Pennsylvania, Ghosts, Monsters, and Miracles, edited by Thomas White. And I started reading some of it, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. So we'll be able to probably use this for later stuff too.
Sweet.
But the first description of a squonk is from William T. Cox's book, Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods, published in 1910. And it is thought that the tales of the squonk came from lumber workers, lumberjacks. I don't know. Lumberjacks in the logging industry.
The new PC way to say it is
lumber
worker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably loggers, I think. I don't know. Logging industry. So the first time this creature is described is in William T. Cox's Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods, which was published in 1910. And it's kind of stories told through lumber. I'm going to do it again. Lumberjacks or the logging industry in Pennsylvania and the Great Lakes region. It's thought that this story kind of traveled with the logging industry as it kind of moved through the East Coast and Midwest. But they said that due to the extensive logging of the hemlock forest in Pennsylvania, the squonk was now extinct. But then other tales of it have arisen, so possibly not extinct.
Okay. How can you declare a creature extinct that you had no proof of in the first place?
Because they saw it.
Okay.
There's
They saw it, but then they didn't see it. So, it must be extinct.
Right. Well, here's the problem. There's a experience of a squonk hunter who went out and he followed the squonk's tears, which is best done on a frosty morning because they they weep so profusely that they actually leave a trail, and you could follow it. And he lured it into his sack, and he was going to take it home and show everybody that the squonk existed. He caught a squonk. But as he made his way home, he realized his sack was getting lighter and lighter.
Oh, no.
And so he stopped, and he opened his sack, and it was just full of bubbles and tears.
Oh.
The poor squonk had dissolved in its own tears, in its sadness.
Wow.
So the squonk was given the Latin name Lacrimicorpus dissolvens in 1969 in the Book of Imaginary Beings by George Louis Borges. And he talks a little bit about the squonk. He gives the description that I gave earlier. The squonk is of a very retiring disposition, generally traveling about at twilight and dusk. Because of its misfitting skin, which is covered with warts and moles, it is always unhappy. In fact, it is said by most people who are best able to judge to be the most morbid of beasts.
Oh.
Which I'm just like, wow, judgy people.
Yeah.
That's really sad. So I got some of my information from this book, Wikipedia, but the most of what I'm going to tell you I got from a YouTube video that I found, and I also have started watching some of his other videos because I'm obsessed.
Okay.
Because you may have heard of it. I've actually heard of it, but I never actually went and listened to or watched any of it. Thought Potato, the YouTuber Thought Potato.
That sounds familiar.
Okay, yeah. He has an entire series called Cryptobiology.
Oh, sweet.
In which he applies science and biology to mythological creatures and cryptids.
Awesome.
And I am all in. I am like so obsessed. And he has really cool artwork that goes with his videos. And it's delivered as if he's a biologist or a scientist and he's gone to study these creatures.
So cool.
It is really cool. Like I started listening to this and I was like, wait, he's talking like this is real. Like he's like, my team and I were sent out and we managed to, within a few days, we saw a party of the creatures and we were able to study them from afar. And I was like,
that's so cool.
You're so full of crap. What do you? And I was like, wait a minute, stop, pause. So I went and looked it up and he has this whole series. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. So yeah, I'm going to probably deep dive and just stream those for the foreseeable future. But he gives a lot of information about like the biology of the squonk and how its wrinkled skin and its the tears and everything are actually part of its defense mechanism. There's this whole section of this video that deep dives into the science of how this squonk could actually dissolve in its tears. And I'm like, what?
Thorough research.
Very thorough research. So I'm going to go over some of what he talks about. So the skin, we talked about the skin being wrinkled and loose and kind of folds in on itself and is covered with these bumps and warts. The squonk doesn't really smell that great, but that is a defense mechanism as well.
Like a skunk.
Well, but they don't have the scent glands like that.
Yeah.
One of the defense mechanisms of the skin, they have these raised protrusions that are in the superficial dermis, and they are actually not just lumps and bumps. They're highly specialized sebaceous glands. So kind of typically those glands are associated with your hair follicles. So they produce the oils and stuff that keeps your hair healthy. But these are enlarged, and instead of just kind of a slow secretion of oils, they can actually be triggered to produce a rapid secretion of oils. So with any association of stress or threat, these glands can secrete this oil and it tastes terrible. It creates an offensive odor and it creates a bad taste. So immediately the predator is like, ooh, yuck, don't like that. And they leave it alone. So that's the first defense of the squonk. The skin is very loose. So he has like kind of excess skin, which allows for more surface area for these glands. Okay, I'll get into more. There's more aspects of why the skin reasons why the skin being loose fitting is also part of their defense mechanism. So when the squonk is very susceptible to stress and anxiety, Same, buddy.
Yeah.
Same.
I get it. I'm with you.
I might be a squonk. I, I feel like I'm sad all the time, and stress and anxiety will send me into a spiral.
Occasionally pig-like.
Occasionally pig-like, slightly webbed feet.
Yeah, slightly webbed feet. Yeah.
But so when the squonk is stressed or attacked, they can literally die of fright, which is like so sad.
Poor guy.
But they have kind of a series of things. So if squonk is moseying about through the hemlock forest in twilight and trying and weeping and thinking how terrible his whole life is, but then something says, "Ha ha! I'm going to make your life worse. I'm going to eat you." The squonk, those glands will trigger immediately a bad taste or an offensive odor, and then the squonk plays dead. Tonic
like
immobility.
A little possum.
Like the possum.
Or is it the opossum?
Opossum.
Yeah.
They both do, actually.
Oh, cool.
But when this happens, the body gets triggered. Like you would think, I didn't know this. This is actual, like a little bit of actual science that they apply from the possum to the squonk.
Uh-huh.
When the possum and the squonk play dead, they're not just like, oh, I'm just going to hold real still. They actually go into this state of tonic immobility where their heart rate is lowered, their breathing rate is lowered, and they have this stiffness in their joints to where they're actually like to a predator who seeks live prey, they almost just drop off the radar.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I'm going to go eat that. Oh gosh, it's dead. Never mind. And they move on typically.
Yeah.
So that actually the squonk will just stay there. It takes them about 30 minutes to recover from this tonic immobility to kind of reset their system, which that is good because if a creature is like, oh, maybe it's not dead.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, no, it's dead. But then they also say like the loose fitting skin also kind of sags because of the muscles and stuff are in this tonic immobility. So then it actually it already starts to look like the squonk has started decomposing.
Yeah.
And then you have this bad odor. So predators that seek live prey are like, ooh, I messed up. That thing's dead. That's gross. Moving on. So the only thing would be like if it's a really bad, really hungry creature, they haven't eaten. If it's been a bad season or whatever for that animal, they may still, or I'll risk it. I'm really hungry. I'll go ahead and eat it. Yeah. Or a carrion eater comes along. That could be a problem.
Yeah.
If the squonk is too frightened, they can actually die of a heart attack or cardiac arrest, where there's this massive release. I'm going to say some words that I hope I pronounce right. There's a massive release of catecholamines and corticosteroids, which normally when that happens, like you think of a rabbit stress, they're like, bam, they're gone. They like super speed run away. But that can also cause immediate cardiac arrest, which can happen in rabbits where they run a few feet and drop over. But it's stress-induced mortality. It's just where you're literally scared to death. And there's such this burst of adrenaline that to help with the fight or flight, but it's too much. And so the tonic immobility that the squonk has can actually save it from this cardiac arrest. So like it can go, but it's a 50-50 shot. It sounds like. So they can have this, they could do the play dead. But if it's incredibly stressed, even the play dead, because when they do that tonic immobility, it lowers their heart rate and their breathing.
Yeah.
So that even if there's this flush of these catecholamines and corticosteroids that would do that, it would really just bring the heart rate kind of back up.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on how sudden the attack is as to whether the squonk plays dead or actually does have this go into cardiac arrest.
Or is dead.
Yeah. It takes about 30 or 40 minutes for the squonk to kind of recover, in which time the predator has typically moved on, and the squonk can then go about their sad little life that they have.
Go about your weeping.
I'm sorry. Go about your weeping. The weeping and the wailing. So the account of the hunter that captured one and then had the bubbles and tears, which like, right, nothing's going to dissolve that quickly. However, the squonk biologically could do that because
of the glands.
they has these toxins and everything that's in their skin. The sudden cardiac arrest, like if the squonk is captured and it dies, that stops the slow release of these toxins, even though they're triggered to release faster than normal. It could release those toxins so quickly that the squonk could actually start to dissolve in its own defense mechanisms.
Oh, man.
And it could lead to rapid decomposition in just a matter of days instead of the typical weeks or months that it would take a body to dissolve.
That's crazy.
Which is kind of crazy. And like, I'm just like, there was so much more in this YouTube video where he talked about like different scientific words like the catecholamines and the corticosteroids. And then there were like, he actually talked a little bit about the DNA breakdown and stuff. Like I watched this video like 3 times because I was like, wait a minute, I don't understand what he just said. Those were big words. So I was like, I would go back through and break it down. I'm like, oh, okay. But it was given in this very scientific, real manner that just fascinated me. And I'm probably any other cryptid, I'm going to go use this guy, I'm sure.
Sweet.
So yeah, there's not a ton of like stories about the squonk the way you have with some cryptids and sightings and stuff, because it's more kind of just this legend that was kind of passed on through these logging industry. Do you know, have you ever been snipe hunting?
Yes.
Okay. So that's kind of, the snipe hunt is kind of like the squonk hunt. Like, oh yeah, you're out camping, you got your seasoned loggers and you got the new guy and you're like, well, you know, you're not a true logger until you've caught a squonk. So here's your stack and here's your flashlight or your torch and go out in the woods and catch us a squonk.
Yep.
We'll wait here in camp. And so yeah, if you're not familiar with the concept of snipe hunting, it's kind of a hazing ritual.
Yeah.
You just go out and you hunt the snipe. They're really hard to find.
The little Boy Scout in Up was hunting snipes. The old man said,
yes,
go hunt snipes. They're under my porch or something like that.
Oh, I forgot that. I should watch that again.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So there are thoughts that the squonk is really just kind of that sort of thing and not an actual legend. But I believe in the squonk. And if a squonk ever hears this, I want them to know that they are loved.
Aww.
And they are not, defined by what they look like.
Yeah. Or what you smell like.
Or what you smell like. It's what's inside that counts,
it's
my friend.
Inside that counts, my friend.
It's not the peel, it's the nana. I just want to do a couple other little quick things. I don't have like a ton of information, but
that's okay.
There is a squonk festival in Pennsylvania.
We're going.
There's also Squonkapalooza.
Oh, we're definitely going to that.
It's August 2nd. We should go.
In Pennsylvania?
I'm assuming. Yes, it is in Pennsylvania. It is a festival of Squonkapalooza is an all-ages cryptid festival.
Cryptable.
Well, there, I've
like
made
that.
a new word. It's a cryptival, celebrating the squonk and other creatures of Appalachian and Americana folklore and cryptozoology. Games, entertainment, speakers, films, cosplay, and vendors.
Oh, we're going.
It's one day. It's August 2nd this year. August 2nd, 2025.
August 2nd, Pennsylvania.
I think we just fly in on the 1st, fly out on the 3rd because we can afford to stay any longer than that. But I think we should go. It's in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Oh, we've got friends in Pennsylvania.
We do have
How
friends
close
in Pennsylvania.
Are they? We'll
have to map and see how far.
Hey, Pennsylvania friends, you know who you are.
Hey, Pennsylvania friends, we want to come see you. Just like
it probably won't be this year, honestly. We're so broke.
We're so
broke,
seriously broke. But I want to go to this.
Yeah,
it looks fun. They have a lot of fun little pictures. That's squonkapalooza.com. There is also, if you go to squonk.org, you will find the Squonk Opera.
I'm sorry, what?
The Squonk Opera, which is kind of a traveling show.
Okay, tell me about the
The
Squonk Opera.
Squonk's history includes touring to Europe and Asia,
Squawk-ra?
performing off-Broadway and on-Broadway, from Lincoln Center to Stanford University, across 36 of the United States and throughout Canada. They have been granted scores of grants, including 10 NEA awards. So it's an outdoor festival that fuses fantastical visual design, playful staging, and high-energy original music. And I want to see where they go.
Are there like, can we look up videos? Are there videos available?
Oh, yeah, I will link this website.
Yes. That is so cool.
They have a Squonking in the Library program in Pittsburgh. And I want to go. So they do, it's just kind of a festival of sound and creativity. And
I am on squonk.org right now, looking it up. And oh my goodness.
It just looks really fun. The New York Times calls it a multimedia troupe of infinite jest with an imagination to match.
That's so awesome.
Time Out New York says it's a blazingly unique spectacle, a flood of contraptions, visual jokes, and gloriously eccentric music. So I do want to kind of find out about them. They have this giant, like, animatronic hand that the audience members get to do stuff. It just seems really crazy. If they ever come out this way, I definitely want to go see them.
I want to see them.
This kind of leads me into Squonk in pop culture. Obviously, if you're into cryptozoology, you've probably learned something about the Squonk. And he's just kind of a speck on the map of cryptozoology.
Yeah.
And one that not many people have heard of. But he is pretty popular in pop culture. So Squonk Opera is one of the pop culture references, or they kind of use him as their name. The browser game Wolf Den, which I don't know, but there is a cryptid theme event, and they have a Squonk in that event. In season 7 of the Winx Club, which is a animated series,
I was going to say, that
I think
sounds
on
like
Nickelodeon,
anime.
I think is what it was on. One of the fairy animals is a cry named Squonk, and his characteristic is he has crying fits. So they call him a cry, but he's inspired by the Squonk, and the character Aisha named her cry Squonk, which I thought was cute.
Mm-hmm.
2 other things I want to mention really quick. Genesis, the rock band Genesis?
Oh, yeah.
They have a song called Squonk on their 1976 album, A Trick of the Tail. And I listened to it, and I actually really liked it. I kind of like Genesis. They're not like my go-to vibe, but yeah, so they have a song called The Squonk, and I'll link that in our show notes. I'll link their video. And Steely Dan, in their 1974 album Pretzel Logic, there is a song called Any Major Dude Will Tell You. And in that song, there is a line that says, "Have you ever seen a squonk's tears? Well, look at mine."
Oh my goodness.
I listened to that one, and it's so very, like, I'm like, it starts and I'm like, oh, Steely Dan. I could hear the song. Steely Dan has a very distinctive sound. And I was like, as soon as it started playing, I was like, yep.
Yeah.
And it is that whole vibe. But yeah, so they mentioned the Squonk. So, and this is like, both of those are in the 70s.
Tears?
I know. Have you ever seen the Squonk's tears?
It's so dramatic.
Look at mine.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Calm down.
Come on,
down,
Steely
Donald
Dan.
Fagen. But yeah, so it's in the 70s, and like the 60s and 70s were like a big time for cryptozoology. Like it became the aliens were out there, and Bigfoot was being found, and so there's a lot of like excitement around. So it's interesting that the Squonk kind of I always keep saying he's one of the lesser known cryptids because you don't really hear a lot about the Squonk, but
there's
for a while there, he was pretty big in pop culture.
Yeah,
so he should feel good about himself.
Yeah.
Much more than I expected. I did not I was like, oh, I'm not going to find anything on the Squonk. When I first started, I found like one tiny little article, and I was like,
oh crap.
And we're done. I'm going to choose a different cryptid before I start doing any more research. And I was like, no, keep going. And I found like kind of some more stuff. And then I found the YouTube video and was like, I'm going to talk about the biology of the Squonk.
So cool.
Which is like, you get the cool women, and I get the animals that I have to do biology research on, apparently. The bobtail squid, though, is real and not a cryptid.
Yep.
But I love the little squonk.
Totally real and not at all a cryptid.
I did say that, like, kind of, oh, yeah, wink, wink. The bobtail squid is real. Oh, man. Precious little bobtail squid.
Aw.
And the precious little squonk. I think he's adorable, even if he thinks he's kidding. I'm kidding on my microphone. Hey, baby. Okay, sorry.
That was fun. Even though he thinks he's kidding.
Oh, yeah. No, even though the squonk thinks he's pitiful and ugly and very sad about that, I think he's adorable.
All of you guys should totally research the squonk.
And we'll meet up at the Squonkapalooza.
Yeah.
In August, hopefully. Yeah. I don't know how we're possibly... August 2025, 2026.
2026.
We're going to do
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll save for it.
After this trip to Galley and then Disney right after that.
We're not going anywhere for a while.
For like the rest of the year.
Probably for the rest of the next 2 years. So we have to
recover.
We have to recover.
On that note,
Squonks.
Be our patron.
Be our patron. I will. Oh, I'll put my little my squonky artwork.
Yeah.
Because that was fun.
Hey, we should draw cards. I
always have this sense of fear and trepidation, but also like excitement.
I know.
Because I'm like, I want to get something I'm really into, but also like, I want to get something I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And, okay. You go first.
Okay.
The deck of cards of topics is so big now, like we can't even hold it in our hands. It's just spread out on the desk here, and we just have to kind of fish through and grab one.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. This is something that I know nothing about.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But I am
sweet.
I'm excited for it because.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Which card? It's just, I'm so nervous. Like, there's no wrong answer here, but I am like, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to choose the wrong card. Oh, okay. This is going to be fun for me.
Oh, man. I want to know.
I can't tell you. You'll find out next episode.
Fine.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Subscribe. Well, first of all, give our podcast a good review.
Sorry, my cat just got in my lap and she's just like keeps playing with the microphone. Okay. We haven't been home much this week, so all the animals are like super needy.
Oh yeah, we've been
just like
dog sitting out at another house, and
they're used to us being here most of the day, and we haven't been. And our cats are really super needy. Anyway, let's talk about where you can find us on social media and Patreon and all the things.
Well, that's where you can find us at the end.
There at the end. Thank you.
You can find all of our information on our website, jessandhids.com. There's a link to our Patreon page there. There's a link to, no, I need to update the social media links. It's just Facebook and Instagram right there. But we are also on Blue Sky. We are on Threads.
I think that's it. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just look for Jess and Hids Make a Podcast.
Yep.
We are on all the apps. And if you don't use apps, you can listen direct from our website.
We do blog posts for all of our episodes that include source images and all of our links. You can go there. You can always listen to the podcast directly from the site. Sign up for our newsletter. We should have a newsletter coming out soon.
Oh, next week?
For February.
Yeah. We just do that once a month. Just kind of what we've been doing, what we're doing, what we have planned, and some other little tidbits. And my brain turned off in the middle of that sentence.
Yeah.
So sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, join our Patreon page.
That's like our big fun place.
Yeah.
And also that would like help us a lot.
If you do, you get these episodes 2 whole days early, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, because we do have little chats with people that listen ahead of time. A few of our patrons will message us and they'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. We keep our patrons in the know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of other fun stuff too. I believe the last episode we mentioned that we run D&D games. We're sort of starting to plan a structure for the games moving forward because we do have just the one campaign running right now. But we're opening that up to one-shots and play-by-posts and
learn to play if you've ever been interested and wanted to kind of get a taste of what D&D could be like.
Yeah. Possible guest DMs too.
Mm-hmm.
Or GMs if you don't even want to play D&D, if you want to do another tabletop role-playing game.
We're super excited. Yeah. And then we also have our kind of what started this whole thing, our writing projects.
Yeah. So we're going to be releasing a new writing prompt. When we record this, we're recording this on January 31st. So we have to figure out the prompt today for February. We had a submission about January's writing prompt.
And it was so good.
It was awesome. And I want more from this world that this patron member created. And so, yeah.
Yeah, we messaged them and we're like, okay, now we need to know what happens next.
Now we need more.
Let's have some short stories. We also speaking of short stories, we do have, we haven't fully announced them on Patreon yet, but we do have some fun short story idea things coming up. Collaborative storytelling.
Oh, I was like,
actually, by the time this is out, they may have been announced on Patreon. I don't know. But you should listen.
I thought you were talking about short stories that we write.
Oh.
And I was like, we haven't done that in a while. We haven't even talked about that in a while. So I don't know what you have planned.
It's some new patron perks.
Yeah. So we're going to do some collaborative storytelling on our Discord server. We're all going to build a story together. And it's like the old Facebook posts you see will be like the first line of a story and they'll say, keep it going in the comments. And so like each comment builds off of somebody else. It's going to be like that, except we're opening it up to however much you want to write.
Yeah.
So like
to tell the story together.
If you only have like the next line in your head and you want to put that out there, go for it. Or if you want to write a paragraph or a few paragraphs, a scene.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
And I think by the time this is released, that's probably been put out to our patrons.
Yeah. We were going to launch that
you guys, if
February.
you like it. If you're having fun with it, I think we will. Speaking of the Discord, that is one of our patron perks.
Yeah.
We have a patron-only Discord server. And we do a lot of fun things on there. We have like random chatter channels, and then we have our pet photos, which I love. Yeah. That's one of my favorite channels because everybody will just share random pictures of their pets just chilling or
that
being
might
adorable.
Be the most active.
I think it is one of the most active. And then we have kind of tier specific channels, which we're going to be doing a little bit more with those in the future. And we have our tea time.
Yeah.
And our announcement. And we have we're kind of going to be focusing a little more on Discord.
That is also where our D&D play-by-post games will be run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we'll
be
Discord
doing it
server,
through there. So we got a lot that we're planning on this upcoming year, kind of really focusing on giving our patrons a little more than we have in the past and thanking them for being our patrons, because we have some that have been there with us from the beginning, and it's just so encouraging. And
honestly, it's a little mind-boggling.
It is a little mind-boggling.
I still, like, imposter syndrome sets in hard, and I'm like, what are you people doing here? You realize you're giving us money, right?
Yeah.
Like, you realize that, right?
Like, right? And
why?
Why? But then we do have people tell us why, and it makes us happy.
Yep. We love all of our patrons.
We love you guys so much. And we would like to invite more people to become patrons, because the more patrons we have, the more we can do.
Cat.
Sorry, the
more we can do fun things for our patrons.
Yeah, the more we can do fun things for our patrons, the more we can focus on the podcast and creating, doing deeper, more in-depth research for our subjects, and hopefully building off. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I want to say like maybe a YouTube in the future, but I'm terrified of being on camera, but it might be fun anyway.
Yeah,
so
I think
we'll see.
I think it would be fun. I mean, we do like the tea times, we're on camera, the movie nights, we're on camera.
True. Yeah. It's just like those seem more casual to me than a podcast episode. I was just like, oh my gosh, unedited footage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
Great though.
fun.
So yeah, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. We appreciate your support, your encouragement, and tell your friends about us. Give us good
Please.
reviews on whatever podcast app you listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say nice things, please.
Yeah.
If you would like to reach out to us directly, you can through our email at jessandhids@gmail.com.
Send us topics. If you have ideas for topics that you want to add to our deck, we are always open to more topics.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes I only think of things that would interest me.
Yeah.
But I also love when someone tells me about something that interests them.
Yeah.
And then I can
I'm
be like,
oh, I
my gosh, that's so cool. And then deep dive into it. So
yeah. So if you have a rabbit hole that you love, that you want us to explore,
please tell us.
Yeah.
We would love to.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. That's it. I can't think of anything else to say unless I start rambling on nonsensically.
We didn't prepare a goodbye.
Oh, I didn't prepare a goodbye.
Thing. Let's see. How would a squonk? I mean, squonks are solitary.
I think a squonk would just cry himself away. He would just back away weeping. I'm so sorry you had to see me.
Yeah. Oh man.
Poor squonk. We're just going to go dissolve in our tears right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually happy to be here and doing this. So I don't want to cry about it.
Okay. You made it cheesy.
It's what I do.
No, I can't think of a goodbye specific to my topic, forensics.
No.
It involves crime, and that's a goodbye I don't want to think about.
Yeah, let's not go there. Let's just say farewell, and we'll see you next time.
So bye.
Bye.